What is going on, everybody? I am the FD Guru, bringing to you guys a Friday NBA edition of my DFS podcast. I hope you guys had a great Christmas, spent some time with some family. Although we didn't really get much football entertainment, all the games were really bad. Both games on Christmas Day and Thursday Night Football, but we get 3 games on Saturday and then a full Sunday slate, so hopefully things can pick up in the football department. We have 8 games on the main slate here tonight for the NBA. As always, I'll give you a value play that I'm liking for each position using FanDuel salaries. Just drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for all future DFS value videos. This slate looks really, really good tonight. We have a ton of value, and we could possibly be getting more value because we have questionable guys to wait on. I'll touch upon those guys real quick. For the Celtics, we have Drew Holiday and Porzingis questionable. Everyone else is good to go there. We have for the Nets already, Ben Simmons is out, which is a new one. And then we continue to have Cam Thomas, Zaire Williams, and Bogdanovich out. The big notes there are Finney Smith and Cam Johnson, who are questionable in this game. So we already have value for the Nets, and we could end up having more if Cam Johnson and or Finney Smith miss this game. A couple other questionable guys. Derek Lively on the Mavericks is questionable, and Draymond Green is questionable for the Warriors. Not a whole lot of injury news to wait on, which is always good. We have Steph Curry for that Warriors team out tonight for rest, so we have value for the Warriors as well. We'll get into that in this video. But like I said, this is a really good-looking slate, and there's a lot of different ways we can go. So we'll get right into things, and I think at point guard, with Doncic also getting hurt on Christmas Day, that was tough. There's going to be some value in that Mavericks and Suns game. Devin Booker remains out for the Suns on the other side. Kyrie Irving is properly priced, though, on FanDuel. He's up to $9,400 now. If he was still at, $8K, he would be a play without Luka, but I'm not looking his way. I think point guard's a good value spot. If you were to spend up, my first guy I'm thinking of is Ja Morant. The Grizzlies just scored 150 points last night, which was insane. That's a high over-under tonight in that Pelicans and Grizzlies game, 236.5. Grizzlies are 9-point favorites. So if you were to spend up at point guard, I'd be looking towards Ja Morant. But I think it's a nice, cheap spot, the point guard position today. Again, with all the Nets hurt, I think we got to look at Shake Milton at only 4,300. With Ben Simmons out, Milton's going to possibly start in this game. It's going to be really tough to get off of him because he's looking like he's going to be the starting point guard. Good matchup against the Spurs. We have a 213.5 over-under. Spurs on the road here, not an overly great team, so we do only see a 7-point spread for the Spurs, even against a banged-up Nets team. So this game has a better chance of staying competitive than not. He only needs 21 fantasy points to hit value. 3 out of the last 4 games, he's played 22 or more minutes. Obviously, with Ben Simmons out, he's going to have a chance to play in that 25 to 30-minute range tonight. Had 23 fantasy points last game. He's going to grade out really well. And then again, if Cam Johnson and or Finney Smith are out, that's just going to open up even more usage and value for Shake Milton and other Nets in this spot. But I do like Milton as a spend-down option. He's going to open up a lot of salary for you at point guard. Shooting guard, he's a point guard and a shooting guard. I think we go to Dennis Schroeder for the first time since he's gone to the Warriors. With Steph Curry out, he's going to go back into that role that he saw on the Nets before getting traded as the starting point guard. Yes, you have Brandon Podziemski, Buddy Hield, who could step up as well, but Dennis Schroeder looks like the clear-cut safe play as the starting point guard for the Warriors. With Steph Curry being out, that puts the ball in Schroeder's hands an awful lot more. It's not the best matchup against the Clippers. The Clippers have a decent defense and they play, fairly slow. It's only a 212 over-under, but this is great usage. If Draymond Green also were to miss this game, it would only boost the value of Dennis Schroeder. He needs 28 fantasy points tonight to hit value. He's projected for just over 30. Hasn't been great since coming over to the Warriors, but he's playing big minutes, high 20s in minutes alongside Steph Curry. With Steph Curry out, Schroeder could go into his, usual Nets role where he played 34 to 36 minutes, and he would grade out really well tonight. Like I said, he can play point guard and shooting guard on FanDuel and looks like a really nice value play at sub 6K. Small forward, I like spending up on Tatum. We do have Nikola Jokic on this slate in a great spot against the Cavs. I'll talk about him once we get to center, but in terms of spending up, I think Tatum is a really nice spot. Small forward right now isn't a big value position, so I think it's, with the opportunity cost, I think it's fine to spend up at small forward. Great matchup at home against the Pacers. We do have a slight risk of a blowout. They are 11.5-point favorites at home against the Pacers. 230.5 over under. We all know the Pacers play fast. Celtics should score a bunch of points, and Tatum has looked really good as of late, although the Celtics in general haven't been great. They've lost their last 2 games to the Magic and the 76ers. He missed the game against the Magic, but on Christmas Day played 41 minutes against the 76ers, and they ended up losing, blowing a lead. But in terms of DFS, it doesn't matter who wins and loses. If the game stays competitive and our guys are producing, that's all that matters, and he's been great over the last 3 games. He needs 51 or more fantasy points to hit value. He's done that in his last 3 games. He's averaging 51 on the year, dropped to 72 against the Bulls, a 43-point triple-double, 15 rebounds in consecutive games. Obviously, if Porzingis and or Drew Holiday missed this game, it would boost Tatum even more, but I don't think it really matters either way. Tatum, he's the superstar on this team. He's going to play high minutes, assuming this game stays fairly close. Like I said, the Celtics haven't been playing great as of late, so I'm not overly concerned about a blowout here tonight. 11.5-point spread, like I said. They'd have to be up by 20 at the end of the third quarter, so more likely than not, Jason Tatum's going to be in the fourth quarter. He's going to be playing in a great matchup against the Pacers, so I do like Tatum at a thin small forward position tonight. Power forward, this is more of a GPP play. I don't think he's going to be that popular, but his ceiling is going to be great, and he has shown in past games with Luka Doncic out, he can go off, and that's PJ Washington at 6,400. His price isn't that cheap, but it could be more expensive. We saw him on that stretch without Luka. We've seen him at 7K or even a little bit more, so he needs 32 fantasy points to hit value. He's projected for like 31, so not quite, but his ceiling is great. We've seen in the past, look at this 4-game stretch he had. 44, 41.5, 40, 46.5. He had another 43.5. He hasn't been playing that great as of late, but it's no surprise that when Luka went down on Christmas Day, he ended up playing 40 minutes against the Timberwolves. We could see him anywhere from 34 to 40 minutes tonight, and in a spot with no Luka, in a great matchup against the Suns, he could easily be a fantasy point per minute. Outside of Kyrie, PJ Washington is the next offensive weapon on this Mavericks team because Klay Thompson is not the same Klay Thompson, and then you just have utility guys like Spencer Dinwiddie and Quentin Grimes in this offense. So Washington should see a ton of usage tonight, and from what I've looked at in all the models and stuff, he doesn't project to have a high ownership. So if you get away from him in cash games, perfectly fine, but at least in a tournament GPP lineup, he is certainly worth it. For a projected low ownership and a huge ceiling. We could see him get up towards 50 fantasy points like he's done in the past. He even had a 52 on November 17th. And the matchup couldn't be any better. The Suns are a 1-point favorite in this game at home, so it's basically a pick 'em. It's a 226 over-under. So the matchup is there, the usage is going to be there, and the ownership's going to be down, I think. So I think Washington is certainly worth a look tonight at 6,400. Other guys you want to look at, like I said, Draymond Green is questionable. If he was to miss tonight, they like resting their stars at the same time, so I wouldn't be surprised if Green rests on the same night that Steph Curry does. Jonathan Kuminga would look fantastic at 5,600. We probably won't know that news before lock, however, because it is a 10 o'clock Eastern game, but just something to note. And then another power forward value play you could look at, I was talking about the Nets earlier. If Finney Smith misses again, Noah Clowney's been cooking for the Nets, and he would probably start, and he's been playing a ton of minutes at the 4 with Finney Smith out. Finney Smith has missed the last 4 games, and we have seen that result in 37, 28, 29, and 30 minutes for Clowney. This game's at 7:30 Eastern, so we should more likely than not get that Finney Smith and Cam Johnson news before lock. And if Finney Smith is out tonight, and Cam Johnson, Noah Clowney would be a smash play at 4,600. He has looked really good over the last 4 games. He would only need 22 fantasy points to hit value. So something to keep an eye out on as we get the injury news going through the day. For center, I think Nick Claxton in this front court for the Nets is a smash. He's too cheap tonight on FanDuel, 5,600. He does have a matchup against Wembanyama, but it's just too cheap of a price. He's projected for 32 fantasy points at 5,600. He only needs 27, so he looks really good. Played 31 minutes against the Bucks. We can expect him to play at least 25, probably in the 28 to 31 minute range, and he should definitely grade out as a fantasy point per minute guy in this game. Like I said, the Nets are going to be very shorthanded tonight. There's going to be a lot of value coming out of the Nets against the Spurs, so we'll have to wait on that news to really solidify who we like. But regardless of Cam Johnson and Finney Smith, Nick Claxton is going to be the center for the Nets tonight, and he's going to look really good at 5,600. Like I was describing with Jason Tatum as a spend up, we do have Nikola Jokic on this slate against the Cavs. This Cavs and Nuggets game looks awesome. It's got the highest over-under on the slate at 238. Cavs are -3, so it should be competitive. Last time the Nuggets played the Cavs in Cleveland, he played 38 minutes and went 27, 20, and 11 for 73.5 fantasy points. Followed that up with an 85 and an 83 afterwards. He had a 4-game stretch where he scored 73 or more fantasy points. So we all know the upside of Jokic. Like I said, I like Tatum a little bit more because we have better value at center tonight where we don't have a lot of value at small forward. But nonetheless, you could certainly pick Nikola Jokic tonight. He looks great. We have Aaron Gordon out in this game for the Nuggets. So I'm not sure if we're going to get like a Peyton Watson starting at the 4. He could end up being good as well at power forward as a low 4,000 guy, $4,400. We'll have to wait and see what I end up doing there. But like I said, there is plenty of value on this slate, and it's not impossible to make a lineup with Nikola Jokic and Jason Tatum tonight. So we'll have to see what happens. For spend ups too, I even like Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal again in this matchup against the Mavs. They cooked last game. No Devin Booker. Durant scored 53. Beal is still only 6,900. He would need 34 fantasy points to hit value. He dropped 47. So there's places to spend up, and there's a lot of good cheap value plays on this slate. We'll wait on some news, but there's not a ton of news to wait on, which is always great. Really good looking Friday slate, guys. That'll sum it up for the value video today. Again, give it a like, subscribe. Let's have a big Friday night heading into a very busy weekend going into the new year. A lot of football, a lot of basketball. Let's get after it. Until next time, I am the FD Guru. Peace.